ASUS is expanding its ProArt series into a full-fledged arm of awesome, and the ProArt LC420 is the latest monstrous addition in the lineup. This all-in-one liquid CPU cooler has a 420mm radiator, 3 massive 140mm Noctua fans, and an illuminated meter to give a quick reference to information like CPU utilization, GPU temps, and more. Is the LC420 the next big thing for content creators or people who don't like RGB? Let's find out right now, right here on Robeytech. Now, if you are a content creator or someone who uses their PC for heavy computational work, chances are that the ProArt line from ASUS has caught your eye, but not in the flashy, hey, look at all the RGB we can cram into this thing, more like in the, who is that strange man over in the corner sort of way. That's because with ProArt, ASUS aims to strip away the distractions and remove obstacles for those who create. And one of those obstacles is heat. As higher end processors push thermal boundaries, ASUS shows up in a big way with the ProArt LC420. That's what we're going to talk about today. Starting with pricing, we're going to be starting at where it lands in comparison to other AiO. The LC420 is only available in one color, this stealthy black thing we have right here, and it's only available in one size, 420mm. That's almost big enough to cool my house in the summertime. Wait, can you imagine the energy bill trying to like cool your house with an AiO? I'm not even sure how that would work. You know what? I bet you Kevin could figure it out. Kevin, let's figure out how to cool my house with this. Now, as far as cost price goes, this behemoth of an AiO has an equally sized retail price of $340. So how does that compare price-wise to the competition? While there might not be a ton of options in the space, the LC420 does actually have some stiff competition. As of the time of this video, Corsair held down the higher end of the price bracket with the iQOO H170i Elite retailed at $239.99, but if you wanted an LCD and the iQOO Link system, Corsair's iQOO Link H170i LCD had a price tag of $339.99, essentially a price match to the LC420 with an LCD screen. In the middle ground, Phanteks had an offering in the space for $210, the Glacier One 420D30. And we probably know how good that one is. And if you're looking for a more budget-friendly option, people's favorite, the Arctic Liquid Freezer 2 420 retails for around $120, which is like almost a third, while Thermaltake's TH420 ARGB AiO comes in at around $137. While we haven't been able to test all of these as 420mm AiOs, the 360mm versions of most of these are among some of the favorites when it comes to AiOs. Let us know down in the comments below if you want to see more 420mm AiOs on the channel and whether you'd like to see these join our AiO showdown. And while you're down there, go ahead and slap that subscribe button, whip that like button, and ring that notification bell so that you don't miss videos like this one and opportunities to tell us if you like this kind of content. We appreciate the support and we appreciate the feedback. Now, speaking of support, what kind of CPUs does the ProArt LC420 support? If you're looking at building an Intel-based system, the ProArt LC420 supports the modern LGA 1700 sockets for 12th, 13th, and 14th gen Intel Core processors, as well as both LGA 1200 for 10th and 11th, and LGA 115X. ASUS, however, draws a line at LG 1366. Sorry, first gen Core i7 users. Now, if you're building an AMD system, the LC420 supports Ryzen CPUs on both AM4 and AM5. There is an interesting omission here, but we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Now, you might be thinking, all of these mounting possibilities are amazing, but do I need to be a master of hand yoga to get the LC420 installed? And I don't even know what a hand yoga master is, but it sounds painful and intriguing. The great news is that installing the ProArt LC420 isn't that painful thanks to the mounting bracket system. Out of the box, the LC420 is set up for an Intel system, so if that's your platform of choice, all you need to do is find the appropriate standoffs for your socket and bam, you're ready to install. Now, if you're building with AMD, ASUS made this super easy. All you have to do is remove the motherboard heatsink bracket, then replace it with a small set of standoffs that include the AM4/AM5 bracket. After that, it's business as usual. Add the standoffs for your socket and bam, again, you're ready to install. Can we agree that this is an amazing trend to see AiO manufacturers moving towards? No one wants to use those clips unless you are a master of hand yoga and you just kind of want to show off. Now, before we get into performance, we have to talk about the heart and soul of the LC420, the pump and the fans. Unfortunately, there isn't a whole lot we can say about the pump itself. ASUS seems to be keeping the details of the pump pretty tight to their chest. What we do know is the LC420 has a 3-phase motor with a copper CPU plate, and that's as much information as they're willing to give us. As for the fans though, we have quite a few details here. The LC420 comes with 3 of Noctua's NF14A industrial PPC 2000 PWM fans. These fans are designed with 2 complementary purposes: to supply ample amounts of air to your PC and do so as quietly as possible, with speeds ranging from 800 RPM to 2000 RPM and a max CFM, which is the metric we use to define how much cubic feet of air is being moved per minute, of 107. That is some serious amount of air that is being moved around. And you'd think that these things would be super loud, but we found that the opposite is actually true, and that they are literally whisper quiet at 31.5 decibels. So the fans are awesome, the radiator is huge, the pump is, well, it's here, but it's all mysterious and brooding over at the corner table. How well does the ProArt LC420 perform? As we look at performance, keep in mind, we look at these numbers that we're comparing against AiO coolers with smaller 360mm radiators. It sounds weird calling a 360mm small, but here we are. Okay, now let's look at the numbers. At CPU idle, the LC420 matched the average temperature of Corsair's H150i LCD XT at 37 degrees Celsius. In our charts, this is at the warmer end of things, but not really sitting in a place where CPU temps are too warm. In our CPU load test, we crank things up to 100%, and the ProArt AiO held its ground in the middle of the pack with an average temperature of 86 degrees Celsius. For comparison, the kin of the LC420, its closest price competitor, the Corsair H150i Elite LCD XT, held the same temperature, but so did the Deepcool LT720 and the ASUS RYU 3. During our gaming test, the ProArt LC420 proved that it can still have some fun while being a business-minded CPU cooler. With an average CPU temperature of 51 degrees Celsius, the LC420 matched some of the best performing coolers like Lee & Lee's Galahad 2 models, the Trinity SL, and the LCD version, as well as the Arctic Liquid Freezer 2. So is it worth it? Well, now that we've seen how it performs, let's look at the relative value of the ProArt LC420. It's been a minute since we've done our last CPU cooler, unless this came out at the same time as the A115, and then you're seeing that already. But here's a reminder of how we do the math. We take the retail price and divide it by the difference of the CPU thermal max, which in this case is 100 degrees Celsius, and the temperature under full CPU load, which in this case is 86. So in this case, we take 340, which is the retail price, and divide it by 14, and that gives us $1 per degree of cooling value, which we can then score and compare with lower numbers being better. In the case of the ProArt LC420, the score in the current market is 24.2857, which from a value proposition standpoint is not an amazing look. This isn't terribly uncommon for ASUS AiOs. Both previous ROG AiOs we reviewed, the RYU 3 and the Ryujin 3, had scores in the low 20s. But when you look at this raw performance of the Ryujin 3, if cool is what you're after, this is the category leader, the Ryujin 3. So where does that leave us with the ProArt LC420? This is where we get our thoughts a little muddled. We love seeing more 420mm AiOs on the market, especially as both Intel and AMD are pushing the thermal limits for their CPUs. The more that we're able to keep CPUs cool, the more headroom you have to do all sorts of thermal work with them, like overclocking, etc. And you know what? Honestly, that's a good thing. But here's the deal, not many of us have ever melted down a CPU before, except for maybe Damien. Damien may have done that, but he doesn't really like to talk about it. Now, from a visual standpoint, there's a lot we like about the LC420. The simple aesthetic really helps tie into ASUS's existing ProArt lineup. Even though there is no RGB or LCD display, we love that ASUS did something unique with their illuminated meter on the pump head. Will it be useful for everyone? Probably not, but it's neat that they tried something different. And can we talk about the Noctua fans for a moment? And we love how quiet these things are. For as thick as the LC420's radiator is, they seem to stand up for the extra work in a pretty respectable manner and without a whole lot of complaint. Now, there were some choices with the overall design on the LC420 that left us kind of scratching our head a bit. If you watched our ProArt build on a review of the ProArt PA602 PC case, which you should check out right here, we had a few critiques about how each of the parts work together as a whole unit. We're not going to drag this point into this review, but we do want to make sure that you know that between the thickness of the radiator and the fans, you're going to want to make sure that the case you're going to be building in has plenty of room to accommodate that extra girth. especially when it comes to managing the fan cables. We did also find it a bit odd that the ProArt LC420 is missing support for AMD's Threadripper and Intel's Xenon processors. While these are more prosumer CPUs, this product line postures itself as a go-to for that kind of user. Maybe ASUS is testing the proverbial waters before they commit to ProArt product lines, or maybe they're just waiting to see if this is an actual need. To be fair, there aren't any ProArt motherboards that support Threadripper or Xenon at the moment, so this may be a whole moot point there. But it's a point worth knowing if you're looking to tame the thermal fury of one of those very beastly CPUs. As far as performance goes, the LC420 did all right. It was neither glaringly bad nor exceptionally better than any of the other AIOs we've tested over the past year. Now, since we don't have a lot of data on 420mm AIOs, which we are going to correct, we are going to be adding more of that stuff, which should make data like this start to become a whole lot clearer. Now, we were only using a 13700K, so maybe something more challenging would show a difference, but given it was only getting it to 87, I don't feel like that's actually going to be a thing. Now, this is the last comment we'll make before we wrap, and the thing is on this, and if I've said it once, I'll say it again. We really do appreciate that ASUS included a bracket for AM4 and AM5 motherboards instead of using the heatsink mounted clips. I know it's a small thing, but when you've built as many PCs as we have around here, brackets like this just make the installation process just so much better. If you're looking for a 420mm AIO, there are really only a handful of options, but those options are pretty solid across the board and at a bunch of different budget price points. What makes the ProArt LC420 stand out among the crowd is its attention to detail that matters most. It's got thick radiator, increased cooling surface area, reputable fans from an industry leading in cooling, and a minimalistic design to encapsulate the ProArt mission. Those were our thoughts on the LC420 from ASUS, but we want to know what you think, and let us know down in the comments below. Do you like seeing bigger AIOs like this? What would you cool with an AIO like this one? We want to know all that down in the comments below. Now, while you're down there, make sure you slap that subscribe button, whip that like button, and ring that notification bell that you get a notification each and every time we post a video like this right here on Robeytech. Also, if you have questions about cooling or anything else, head over to our Discord server, discord.gg/Robeytech, where we have an amazing community who love to talk about these very same things. And you know what? You might make a friend. Also, you can follow me at Robeytech absolutely everywhere. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we look forward to seeing you on the next one.